Join me as I dive into the chilling history of the Salem Witch Trials and try to unravel what really happened back then. In this video, you'll explore the chilling events of the Salem Witch Trials, a dark chapter in American history that brought about mass hysteria and tragic consequences. Salem, Massachusetts, in the late 17th century, was a hotbed of social, political, and religious tensions. The community was primarily made up of Puritan settlers who were fiercely dedicated to their faith. They believed in the devil's presence in the world, and the idea of witches and witchcraft was deeply ingrained in their culture. This created an atmosphere of fear and suspicion where anyone who was deemed different or outside the norm was at risk of being labeled a witch. The economic and political climate also played a significant role in setting the stage for the witch trials. Many of the settlers were struggling to survive, and the lack of resources and opportunities created an air of discontent and frustration. This led to a sense of competition and rivalry between families, which would later be exploited by the accusers during the trials. Additionally, the Puritan community was also experiencing a crisis of faith. Many were questioning the authority of the church and the role of its leaders, which led to a sense of uncertainty and instability. This power vacuum created an environment where fear and superstition could thrive, and the idea of witches and witchcraft provided a convenient scapegoat for the community's problems. In the years leading up to the trials, there was a growing sense of unease and anxiety in Salem. Strange occurrences and unexplained events were often attributed to witchcraft, and many believed that the devil was actively working in their community. In 1692, the first accusations were made, and the trials began. The key figures involved in the trials were the afflicted girls, who claimed to be possessed by the devil and were the primary accusers. The most notable of these were Abigail Williams, Betty Paris, and Ann Putnam. They would often exhibit strange behaviors, such as convulsions and trance-like states, which were seen as evidence of witchcraft. The court proceedings were highly irregular and biased. The trials were characterized by a lack of due process and the use of dubious evidence, such as spectral evidence, which referred to testimony about dreams and visions. Many of the accused were old, poor, and marginalized women, who were easy targets for the accusers. The role of fear in escalating the situation cannot be overstated, as it was used to manipulate public opinion and to justify the brutal treatment of the accused. The most notorious of the trials was the trial of Bridget Bishop, a wealthy and outspoken woman who was known for her independence. Her trial set the tone for the others that followed, and it was marked by a complete disregard for the rule of law and the rights of the accused. Bishop was eventually hanged, along with 18 others, in the following months. As the trials continued, public opinion began to shift, and more people started to question the legitimacy of the proceedings. In 1693, Governor William Phips dissolved the Court of Oyer and Terminer, which had been established to try the witchcraft cases, and many of the accused were eventually released from prison. In hindsight, it's clear that the Salem Witch Trials were a shameful episode in American history. They were a gross miscarriage of justice, fueled by fear, superstition, and hysteria. Today, we can learn valuable lessons from this dark chapter about the dangers of mass hysteria, the importance of due process, and the need to protect the rights of the accused. Thanks for watching, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on the Salem Witch Trials in the comments below. Don't forget to check out my other videos on historical events, and I'll catch you in the next one.